How's it going, Jeremiahs? In today's video, I will be teaching you how to make a beat, how to make a lo-fi music song on FL Studios, and I'm assuming that you have zero knowledge on FL Studios. So to follow along with this, you can go to FL Studios website here. I will leave a link in the description where you can go download the appropriate trial version for Windows and Mac OS depending on what you are using. So this has no limitation in terms of time. It is fully functional. You can use it for as long as you want. There's only one limitation, right? You can save the projects, no problem with that, but you cannot reopen saved projects unless you have a paid version. But this trial version is good enough for our tutorial, and you can use it and finish all your projects within one single session as long as you don't quit. You can save your files, but you cannot reopen it, and you can still export it as a WAV or a MP3 file. So once you open up FL Studios for the very first time, you will be looking at this screen or something similar to this screen here. On the left side, you have a browser where you can look at all your presets, your plugins, your different loops, as well as sound effects, as well as your rendered audio, sliced audio, etc. This is where you will store all your assets file that you will pull into your different windows here. On the top here, you have a couple of buttons which are really your essential views that you will need. The very first one, when you click here, you will get an arrangement window. An arrangement window is like a canvas where you are able to put together different parts of your songs. And on this part of the arrangement windows, you will build up different short patterns that you will then use together as like Lego bricks to build up a final song. The next button over here is a piano roll. The piano roll is the one that allows you to just click in different notes without having a musical keyboard. The next button we have here is a channel rack. This is a channel rack, and what a channel rack does is that it allows you to load your instruments, your files, your plugins into the different various channels. And the next button we have here is the mixer window. And the mixer window is where you are going to route your different instruments and your different plugins into different channel on your mixer, and you can control the volume of the mixer independently. So with this, we are ready to get started. Let's start by deleting all the channel rack instruments because we will be starting from scratch. So I'll be deleting them all one by one. All right, now the first thing we want to do is have a little piano voice. So I'm going to my browser window here. I'm pulling over a Rhodes piano voice. It is under your packs, under your instruments, under keyboard, and Rhodes. Pull it in and make sure that it goes into this slot here. So here you have different effects that you can apply, and then just alter and modify the sound to your heart's content. But for now, we will just leave it as it is. I will turn off this effects, reverb effects here, because we will be applying a better reverb plugin directly. So once you have this here, it will not sound until you assign it to a channel on your mixer. So let's go to channel 1, and now this would sound through channel 1. It will be routed from channel 1 into the master channel of your mixer. I like to do some housekeeping to make sure that everything is in order. I would actually right mouse click on this, go to rename color and icon, and I would change this to Rhodes. In the same way, this will be pattern number 1. So I will right mouse click on this, go to rename and color, and I will name this Rhodes. So now that we have this all set up and ready, we need to open up the piano roll. And with the piano roll, we can actually key in what we want the sound to be played. And FL Studios has this very special feature that allows you to key in chords even though you do not have any chord knowledge. So if you go to this little round circle here and you click on it, you go to melodic chords, advanced, and let's look at, for example, a minor 9 chord here, M9, right? When you click that and you just go to your key that you want, which is, for example, here, this would form a D minor 9 chord for you. right? That is sounding too low. So all I need to do is press Control and arrow up. Yes, this is the octave that we want this to be in. The next thing you see are these little grids here. So this is bar 0, bar 2. So this, between these lines will be the first bar, the second bar, the third bar, and the fourth bar. And right in the middle is your second beat. You get different divisions. This is bar 1, first beat, bar 1, second beat, bar 1, third beat, bar 1, fourth beat, etc. Right? So when we drag this, we are actually telling FL Studios how long do we want this sound to sound. Let's key in another chord. Perhaps let's play with a major 9 chord. You may not even know how to play a major 9 chord, but no worries, you just have to select it from this list. You don't need a lot of musical knowledge. You can actually explore the different chords around here to get the effect that you want. So here I've selected a major 9 chord. I think we're gonna go for an F key here, and I'm just gonna click it here. I can of course put it on this third beat, but you just sound very robotic. So I'm just gonna offset it a little bit so that there's a little bit of articulation. I'm gonna shorten this so that it ends on the second beat. And then we're gonna go back to a C chord, and we're going to choose a C major here. I like a C major 9 again, and I make sure I follow C, and I go right here and click it in, extend it out so that it sounds for 2 beats, and I want one more major 9 chord. It's the same C chord but on the 3.5 beats. Let's listen to this. Okay, now you realize that it is too fast. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this tempo window here, right mouse click, go to type in value. We're going to type perhaps about 84. That should be nice and chill for a little lo-fi kind of song. Now what we want to do is we want to basically just select everything here except the last one. And we're going to duplicate this by pressing Shift and dragging it to the right. To select all these notes, all you need to do is just press on to Control on your keyboard, and then you use your mouse to select what you want selected, and that allows you to select multiple elements. Now on the final beat here, I don't want a C chord, I want a little variation to this, so I'm going to choose perhaps a augmented chord. And let's go to G and click this in here. Good. Now let's select everything. Press Control, select everything. I want to change the velocity a little bit, so you can actually change the velocity to make it sound a little bit more human. Now let's listen to it. This is not too bad, but I think we can make it sound a little bit better. So we're going to go into this button here. And inside FL Studios, in the Tools section, we have this thing called a strum. So a strum allows you to just kind of offset the beginning of your chord so that it sounds a little bit more natural and more real. Control, select this, and we'll go to Tools, Strum. You can see it says alternate S, so this is the shortcut key. Right, and we'll just push it up a little bit. Right, accept. Let's do the same thing for this as well. We basically it's alternate S, remember? All right, it will apply the previously selected ones, and then we will just accept it. Have it here as well, alternate S. And now let's listen to the whole thing. That sounds a lot more natural. Alright, it's sounding not too bad. What we want to do is perhaps put some effects to it so that it sounds a little bit richer, I'm going to put in a little bit of a delay to it. So I go to the effect slots here, make sure that your mixer 1 is selected, go to your effect slot, select Fruity Delay Tree, just pull down the delay a little bit, pull down the dry. You can play around and see what kind of effect you get. So now when we play it, you can hear the little wobble in the sound, which is so characteristic of a little lo-fi music. Let's also put in a little tiny bit of reverb, not too much, just a very tiny bit. Let's pull it down a little bit, not too much. You can already hear that it's so much more lush. Okay, good. So now that we've done that, we are going to assemble our pattern onto the arrangement. So I just have to pull this pattern over here, and we're going to duplicate this. How do you duplicate this? You press Shift, select, and drag. Duplicate this, duplicate this, duplicate this. Good. Instead of being in pattern mode here, we're going to go to song mode. When you go to song mode, you see that it jumps to this window, and it's going to play this window instead of this pattern. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is build a little drum track, and we're going to use a loop here. Okay, that sounds pretty good. And we want to slice up the different drums and snares that is in this loop here. We're going to use a plugin called SliceX. So what I did here was just press plus, right, and selected more plugins, and I go to SliceX by typing below the first few alphabets, and I've got SliceX here. So this plugin will slice up this audio loop and assign it to a different key on your piano roll. Alright, so we want to assign this to channel number 2, and we're going to rename this by right mouse clicking and call it heads, for example. Hi-hats, we're just going to work on the hi-hats for now. And we're going to create a pattern here by going up here, pressing plus, and we're going to call it hi-hats. Okay, now we have created a blank pattern called hi-hats. We're going to go in by opening up the piano roll here, and you can see that it has been assigned, each key has been assigned to a different drum sound. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw in a hi-hat voice. I'm going to have a hi-hat every half a beat. Let's listen to this. We got to go to pattern mode to make sure that we can hear the pattern. Okay, we're going to duplicate this. Control on your keyboard, click your mouse, select, press Shift, and use your mouse to drag this. Okay, now that we have this, we're going to make it a bit more interesting. We're going to vary the velocity of this. So we're going to press Ctrl A to select everything. We're going to use this pencil tool to just vary the velocity a little bit. Okay, to make it a little bit more interesting, we're just going to add another different hi-hat sound at certain points, random points here. Okay, that's a little bit too predictable. Okay, that's all nice and fine, but we want to make it a little bit more updated. So I'm going to select this hi-hat here, Control and select, and up here, triangle and the tools, there's this thing called arpeggiate. So when you select that, it actually slices up that into multiple identical slices. So we want 4 slices here, and I'm going to change the velocity a little bit. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for this one here. Alright, that sounds very nice already. So let's select everything, and we're going to press Shift, click and drag so that we get alright, that would be 4 bars of hi-hats. Okay, let's apply a little bit of effects to this. Let's go to reverb. Let's put some reverb into it. Select drum room. Alright, that sounds better already. Now let's pull this in and introduce this hi-hats on the second part of this arrangement. So now let's go to song view. Let's listen from the top. We're going to make a variation of this. We're going to introduce the snare drums and the kick drums. So we're going to select this, right mouse click, and go to clone. Over here, clone. You'll make the same thing, and we're going to rename it into drums. Right, this will still be taking information from this channel rack here, and it will still be going through the same mixer, so there's no need to reroute anything. The only difference is that we will add more elements, add more events to this drum pattern. So with this selected, we're gonna turn on the piano roll. Gonna go to the kick here. We're gonna draw in the kick. Make sure we have pattern selected, so you would just play this pattern here. All right, let's listen to how this kick sounds like. We'll just drag this in over here. The hi-hats came in, and then now we're gonna introduce the snare drums and the kick drums. Let's create another pattern by going up here, pressing plus, and we're going to create a bass. So we're going to right mouse click and rename it and call it bass. And we're going to use a built-in plugin here, which is a synthesizer plugin. Let's go to more plugins. It comes with the trial version of FL Studios. It's called OSC. So basically this is a 3 oscillator synthesis plugin. Just the default alone is good enough. All right, so we have that selected, and we are going to route this into channel 3. So you see that as I move this, the mixer rack changes. So I'm going to right mouse click on this, rename, and I'm going to call it bass. Okay, now we're going to open up the piano roll. I'm going to change to pattern mode. Gonna go pretty low because this is a bass sound. I'm gonna follow the roots note. So earlier on we chose D, so we're gonna press D here. It's a bit too low. Let's go up a little bit higher. We programmed earlier on with our Rhodes piano. Okay, good. Now let's put it in here. Good. Okay, the final step we're going to do to make it sound more like lo-fi with a bit of scratches in here, we're going to go to download a free plugin, Isotope Vinyl. I'll leave a link in the description, so go download that. It's totally free. Install it And in the master bus here, whatever effects you apply on the master track of the mixer will be applied to every single instrument and channel over here. So with the master bus selected, I'm going to select slot 1. So I go to more plugins and I'm going to type vinyl and I'm going to select iZotope vinyl. The link will be in the description where you can download this free plugin. So once you have that, you can play around with like mechanical noise. You can hear that? Electrical noise. Warp the sound a little bit. Let's have a mono feel to it. And this is emulating which year it's from. Okay, there you have it. Once you are satisfied with your creation, all you need to do is just go to File and Export WAV or MP3. That's what the trial version allows you to do, and you can then send it via WhatsApp, email to your friends, and do whatever you want with the audio file. My name is Jeremy C, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.